Hello and welcome to the stream again. The Gamedev stream project. Welcome back to it. Okay, so yesterday we were on the animation where the player character opens the door. I actually want to get back to working on that today because I think it still needs a little bit of work in hindsight. Also, I still need to actually export it into the, well, import it into, kind of depends on how you think of it. You export it from here and then you import it into here. Yeah, I still need to like import it into the actual engine. All right, so here is the second half of the animation. I'm probably gonna finish this up pretty quickly and then get back to work on the actual, on implementing it into the actual engine or the game engine. All right, so I want to pay close attention to the player's feet. So I need to make sure that he goes from that when he's gonna take like a few steps, and I want to make sure that when he goes forward, he's going from like heel toe, in a way that is realistic. Okay, so he drags his left foot to the foot down. I don't want him to drag his foot. I want him to lift it up. So I'm gonna move it halfway between the keyframe. Was right foot. Hmm. I think I actually want it to stay in the same spot. All right, so now I'm gonna look at the way that his foot moves during this part of the animation. Kind of want his toe to start and end in the same spot. At least when viewed from above. All right. If you notice, his foot changes angle like partway through here, and his toe kind of moves around. Hold on, hold on. Let's do another thing. Let's make it so that he kind of he's like kind of shifting his weight, lifting his heel. And let's do what we did before, where we made sure that the toe stayed in the same spot. I might be going a little bit too deep into this, paying too much attention to this one little thing, but I think it'll be worth it. I'll look at his right foot during this process. It seems like he kind of drags it on the ground. I don't want him dragging his foot. Actually, I think that maybe for 2 frames of this animation, I want his toe to stay in the same spot to kind of give the impression that he's pushing off of it. Just lift his foot. Then here it should be lifted up. So now he's pulling the door and kind of moving out of the way as the door moves past him. Now he's walking forward. So during his first step, as his foot touches the ground, his right foot, it should be heel first. Copy the frame data here, paste it here. Okay, that should be good. I'm just gonna quickly play it back. I'm not sure what these buttons do, to be honest. The door and walk through. And now I'm going to do the exact same thing, but for a doorknob for a door with the doors on for a door with the doorknobs on the left. Because you'll notice that for this animation, this is assuming that the doorknob is on the left. I want to make a similar one, but for the right. That should be pretty easy. All I have to do is take this, duplicate it. Sure, these are fake users so they don't get deleted. Okay, let's go back to animation tab. Paste flipped. Oh dear, what's going on here? Oh, I see what's going on. Ah, okay. Problem is that when I pasted them, it didn't replace all of the frames because not every bone gets or not every animation bone gets written or gets like a value set during each keyframe. Some of them are still like interpolated, and yeah, it was like bones from the previous thing were still there, or from the left version were still there. I'm not sure why it like does that where I have to select the animation again. Okay, this should be good. I just have to export the character model again. Export GLTF. And this takes a little while because of all the animation data that I have. Just gotta wait for that black square to disappear. I feel like it's not supposed to do that. It's probably supposed to be like a one of those hourglass or circle icons that kind of indicate that something is like a processing or loading. You know what I'm talking about if you've used Windows. By the way, if you're curious, I'm using Windows 11. The reason I have this is because I have Start or Classic Start installed. Okay, there it's go. There we go. It's just got the regular cursor again. So now it's going to port protag.glb. Done. Okay, now I have to go to find the actual. You know what? Okay. So here's the old door left animation. And let's see if we can find the new one. Here it is. And here's part 2. Okay, the animations are now on the character. Now let's implement them into the actual door systems. So I actually have 2 door systems. There's 2 types of doors. There's a type of door where you open it and it like it loads you in it opens and then it just loads another scene. And then there's a door where you open it and it teleports you to the other side. And you're still in the same scene. This here is one of those loading zone doors. So let's work on this door. Actually, first let's get it. Let's test it out before we figure out what we need to do. We might not actually be able to. I mean, we might not actually have to do much. Oh, my phone just vibrated. I need to see what's going on. No, nothing. Nothing important. All right. Let's see what happens when I try to open this door here. Oh no, that was actually pretty good. That door was broken though. And now the player's facing the wrong way. Well, it worked surprisingly well, this particular door, but the other one was broken. in some key way. Let's go fix it. Also, we need to go into that scene anyways because there are other doors that of the other variety where it teleports you to the other side that I need to also take a look at. Oh dear. So that did not work. Well, I mean, functionally it worked, but the animations didn't do what we want them to do. Okay, let's take a look at what we need to do and the process that happens when you open the door. So this type of door, so there's door load, very simple. So what happens is this method, open door, is called, or it's called when the front of the door is interacted with. It disables player movement and plays back an animation on the player with whatever name, with like a that has a certain name based on a string. It plays this like a similar animation for the actual door itself. It teleports the player to the other side of the. No, it teleports the player to a specific position in front of the door to kind of make sure that the animation lines up, and then it starts fading out the scene, fading to black, and then it waits a few seconds for the fade out to complete, and when it's completely faded out, it sets up the loading for the next scene. It tells the game what entrance to use for the next scene, and it tells the what is current scene? I'm not sure, to be honest. Well, it's the name of the current scene that the player is in, like the level. But I forget what exactly I'm keeping track of that. But I think there's a reason for it, but I don't remember what it is exactly. And then this is pretty standard stuff. Get tree, change scene, and then I actually have a list of levels, and then which use like the scene name as its ID. It's not technically a list. It's a dictionary, which is kind of like it's kind of like an array, except for instead of using a bunch of numbers instead of using like a numbered index, the index of the object is itself like an object or value. It could be a string. With Godot, it's actually quite flexible because it has its own built-in type of dictionary and also array, which you should use if you're making that game in Godot instead of using the standard system version of those things. If you're making the game, this is only what I'm saying is only really important if you're doing what I'm doing, like in C#, which I don't recommend, but I'm doing it anyways. If you're using GD script, you don't have to worry about anything that I just said. All right, so the teleporter door is a bit more complicated because it has to take into account that the doorknob can be either on the left or on the right. And Same with it has like an entrance and an exit, which is like the entrance is one side of the door, the other entrance is the other side of the door. And the exit is like where you get teleported to when you use the door. And technically speaking, the player doesn't like move through the door. He just gets teleported to the other side, but an animation plays that makes it look like you moved through the door. That's my goal. All right, let's update this to work on the current system. These four are for the door, I mean the player, and these two are for the door, because we want the door to physically move open and close as the player is like, to make it look like the player is physically opening and closing the door, right? Um, okay. That's weird. No, that was probably my fault. I probably should have waited for it to re-import the assets before I clicked the build button. Like got this weird. Yeah, sometimes that happens. Sometimes the editor just freezes. I don't know exactly why, but it happens. Oh, I gotta reopen that level. Oh, wait a minute, wait a minute, wait a minute. Okay, let's see if this works. Uh, Not quite. Uh, but yeah, there it is. Yeah, it's doing it again. Yeah. Why do you keep doing that? I just want to move the window, please. I must have messed something up. Oh, I think I know what's going on. Okay, so I can't just use. Oh, I should. I think I should be able to do that. I can't for some reason. All right. Let me fix some things real quick. So so the entrance is both an interactable area and also a position. So I want the entrance is what the player interacts with to activate the door, but I'm also trying to use it as the position that the player is initially teleported to when they interact with the door. And I'm realizing that it was kind of set up wrong in a way. Okay. So entrance B. Entrance A should be over here. Entrance B should be over. Should be over here. The actual collision should be like there, I think. I think that is right. All right, let's try it out. Like, so there's a problem. The problem is that the entrances are too high up. Okay, I see. The entrance should be like on the ground. And then I have to just raise the collision up to compensate. Hold on, let me check my computer audio. A little bit quiet. For me, at least. I mean, I think it's probably fine for you guys. And maybe it's a little bit quiet. Although that might have been intentional because music might be slightly annoying. I'm not sure. I've gotten compliments about the music. Okay, I think that looks good. I still need to fix the door itself though. Okay. The idea of what I'm doing is working perfectly, but I need to fix the actual door. And you know what? You know what? Let's model a door. Why model a door? Why not just use the cube? Because it sucks. Textures are all stretched out. Better to have an actual dedicated model, I think. And let's use this here as a starting point. Okay, is there a way for me to save this one object as its own Blender scene? I do not know. But I would like to use it as a starting point at least. And for that, I need to make it its own thing. You know what? Now let's just make a new one. All right, so you know how they use how in most Blender tutorials they start off with deleting the cube? I'm not doing that. I'm using this cube. Okay, so I believe that this grid represents meters, and I want the door to be about a meter wide and 2.5 meters tall, and maybe 0.2 meters thick. That actually might be too thick. Yeah, yeah, that's way too thick. 0.2 meters. It's like more than half of a foot. That should be 0.05 meters thick. Okay, so anyways, let's push this one like that. I think that was, yeah, that's perfect. This is good. Up and okay. Ooh, this is actually too tall. Okay, so now it is a meter wide and 2 meters tall. That should be good. And now let's place the doorknob around over there. So I think the doorknob itself should be modeled, but all the other details should just be textures. Oh, next up. Dang it. Arbitrary values. Looking at my real life door, and I think that's probably pretty good. Ooh, I accidentally extruded it. Okay, I think that's good enough for the door model. I need to smooth the lighting out. There we go. Okay. Do I want to bother texturing the doorknob at all? I'm not so sure if I want to. Yeah, I might just color like I might just color it all the same color. The actual door, however. Oh wait. Failed to unwrap due to, yeah, I need to make some islands. Should be good. Oh, actually. So the sad thing about this current situation, the way that you see right now, is that in my current setup of Godot engine, I can only use square shaped textures. In this situation, I could benefit from a 1:2 aspect ratio texture where where I only like, where the texture is shaped kind of like this. But my project is in GLES2, which only works which doesn't really support that other textures with non-square um, dimensions. So unfortunately, my texture atlas is going to have a lot of wasted space on it, which is a little bit tragic, to be honest. Use the same part of the texture for the top, for the front and back, and same thing for the sides. Actually, for the sides, I am going to stretch them. Wait, no. Hold on. Okay, what resolution? So I can do a maximum of 64 by 64. And I'm tempted to do that, but I feel like I should do 32 by 32. So I'm going to start with that. Try and make better use of the texture atlas. Maybe stretch this out a little bit. Don't want to stretch it out too far because I don't want the texture to be obviously stretched. Or at least if it's, I mean, I don't, it's going to be stretched, but I don't want the stretching to be obvious, if that makes sense. Okay, save as. Okay, I think this is probably a good resolution for the door texture. Doesn't look half bad. The texture itself is clearly not the right one, but it's just to help me visualize the resolution and also to see where is where. Trying out the frame first. It's the bottom and top, and the sides. Okay, it is now 6 o'clock. I usually stop streaming at around 6 o'clock. So I think we made good progress on this particular asset. Tomorrow, if I remember, if I actually like remember, I will open up that texture in GIMP and then actually create like the proper texture that you'd probably expect from a door. I might actually make multiple versions of this asset, like one with like a standard door that you would find in like a regular house, like one that looks kind of like mine with like a white panel and those weird well, they're not weird, they're normal, but those what would you even call those? Fluting? I don't know what they're called, but it's, you know how the how doors have like this weird pattern on them in like the Western countries. Like actually mine looks kind of like it has like two crosses on it, like a it's got like six sub panels on it. There's like a top left, top right. And there's four long skinny ones, like the middle left, middle right, and bottom left and bottom right. Maybe I'll do something kind of like that. No, I can make like just a wooden one, and then I can make like a metal one. I don't know. We'll figure it out tomorrow. Anyways, this is probably the end of the stream. Yeah, have a good night. I'll see you next time. Bye bye.